Archaeological evidence suggests that the occurrences of fires were not random accidents. During the period from 5500 to 2750 BC, the present-day countries of Romania, Moldova, and Ukraine were inhabited by a group of people known as the Cucuteni-Trypillia culture. Although not as famous as the Sumerians in the nearby Fertile Crescent, the Cucuteni-Trypillia culture is equally significant. They represent one of the oldest known societies in Europe and could be among the important ancestors of human civilization in general. Situated within the Carpathian Mountains and between the Dnieper and Dniester rivers, the Cucuteni-Trypillia culture was highly advanced. They cultivated wheat, barley, and various legumes. Additionally, they built large kilns to fire pottery and crafted copper jewelry. The Cucuteni-Trypillia people's axes were also made of copper and used for cutting wood to construct houses. In fact, the term impressive falls short of describing the capabilities of this culture. By reinforcing wooden frames with dried clay, the Cucuteni-Trypillia people were able to construct some of the largest buildings in the world, multi-story structures with sizes equivalent to 2 basketball courts, almost 700 square meters. The buildings of the Cucuteni-Trypillia people have puzzled archaeologists for centuries. The mystery is not the size of the structures, but rather their unique state of preservation. Every 60 to 80 years, these residential areas were mysteriously consumed by fires. In reality, the Cucuteni-Trypillia culture is not the only ancient community to record this phenomenon. Burned houses were a recurrent feature in Central and Eastern Europe to the extent that scientists coined a term for it, the burned house horizon. For a long time, fires were believed to have been caused by common reasons such as lightning strikes or enemy attacks. This was a reasonable hypothesis, especially considering that most prehistoric houses were filled with combustible materials like grains and woven textiles. Moreover, there seemed to be no logical reason for people to intentionally destroy their own property. However, scientists have proposed surprisingly plausible explanations for the self-immolation of homes. Mirjana Stevanovic, an archaeologist from Serbia, argued that the deliberate burning of structures in this region was likely symbolic. Her research echoed the findings of Vikenty Kavoyka, another scholar who believed that the houses were set ablaze upon the death of their inhabitants. Meanwhile, Evgeny Yurievich Krichevsky, a Russian archaeologist, took a more practical approach. He posited that prehistoric peoples in Eastern Europe weren't destroying homes but rather fortifying them. According to him, the heat of the fire would harden the clay walls, while smoke would help repel insects. Recent studies have also developed more realistic theories, suggesting that these ancient structures were intentionally burned primarily to make space for new constructions. Revisiting the past, in 2022, a team of archaeologists and conservators from Hungary sought to better understand this house-burning phenomenon by analyzing soil and recovered plant remains from a site near Budapest. The results revealed that out of 3 fire events at the Százhalombatta Foldvar site, 2 appeared to have been intentionally started. Archaeologists Arthur Bankoff and Frederick Winter pursued a different approach. In 1977, they purchased a dilapidated house from a farmer's family in the Morava River lowlands in Serbia. This house was made from the same materials as the burned houses, so they wondered what would happen if they set it on fire. The results were astonishing. While the wooden roof was destroyed, the clay-plastered walls of the house remained surprisingly intact. Combined with the fact that the experiment required a massive amount of fuel, it became evident that prehistoric burnings were deliberate rather than accidental. Bankoff and Winter were not the only researchers to conduct house-burning experiments in the name of science. In 2018, a group of archaeologists from Ukraine and the UK intentionally burned not 1 but 2 historically accurate structures based on the Cucuteni-Trypillia culture. Unlike previous experiments involving purchased houses, they actively constructed these buildings in the style of the Cucuteni-Trypillia culture. The results were nearly identical. The walls of both structures remained intact, as did many clay vessels and small figurines inside. Furthermore, no fire spread occurred, indicating that this activity was controlled and safe. Once again, researchers were amazed by the amount of fuel prehistoric people needed to achieve the recorded maximum temperatures in the sediment layers. Specifically, they would require over 130 trees worth of wood for a single-story house and 250 trees for a 2-story house. Thus, a settlement with 100 houses would need an expansive forest covering almost 10 square kilometers to burn.